So I don't normally like to get political. It happens sometimes, inevitably these days, but generally, I like to try to distance myself from politics because I can't really afford to burn any of my remaining brain cells. But sometimes some something happens, some bullshittery happens that you just gotta talk about it. So you might have heard already, but it's Ted Cruz. You may be familiar with him. Well, let's just say he had a bit of a rough take.
Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? I want you to look at what happened when the National Guard went to D.C.
Yeah, he did say that, and I let it play out a little bit longer so you could tell after the fact that he didn't try to like backtrack, and he's like, "Oh, what I actually meant was we should stop doing vigilante justice and attacking people on the streets, or uh what I meant to say was XYZ and this and the other thing." He just keeps going. He ends up talking about like sending troops into DC and how it lowered the crime rate and other stuff like that. Um, I can't really fathom why a person would just say that in full confidence and not specify that they meant something else if they did. I'm of the mindset that, you take advantage of a child, you should get arrested, get tried, and get your sorry ass sent off to the slammer, alright? Obviously, the vigilante justice thing, it doesn't go well for anyone. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, you see the To Catch a Predator by rogue people. Sometimes it works, a lot of the time it doesn't. Not the point, though. The point is that he says this, all right, and some people, and myself a little bit, think that possibly it could be related to the Epstein thing. I don't have my tinfoil hat on, so I'm not going to go too deep into any possible connections there. I don't know. But uh, if this is how some people are going to start talking, I feel like, you know what? Those files, the Epstein files, they're never getting released. And if they do, it'll be some heavily edited, censored version that's gone through the government bureaucracy first. And you know what my theory here is that with those files, all right, eventually some heavily censored, possibly even completely made up Epstein files get released by some higher up, some politician or someone like that. And he's like, look, it's the Epstein files. I released them. And look at this. All these people that I really don't like are conveniently all on that list. And all the people I do like aren't on it. And then sometime after that, someone else will release another heavily edited, censored, and bullshitted Epstein file, and they'll be like, look, all these people that I don't like are on the Epstein files, including that other guy. And then sometime after that, someone else will come out and be like, look, the Epstein files, all right? Ignore all these black lines and edits here. All these people I don't like are on this list, including those other two people. And then maybe it gets to the point where like every week a new Epstein file gets released with all the people the person doesn't like on it. And then at some point in the future, years down the line, it just becomes like another conspiracy, like Area 51 or like MK Ultra. It just becomes this thing that's like you see on the YouTube videos about conspiracies and stuff, and you see some like a Redditor with his tinfoil hat, and he'll be like, the real reason the Epstein files were never released is because it actually revealed the identity of reptoids that are living in the Illuminati and the deep state and all this other shit on there. Aliens, I don't know. And that's just how it ends up going, because that's how it always ends up going. When the government screws up, do they own up to it? Not usually. It usually just ends up like, oh, well, we'll just, we screwed up this time. We did some real horrendous shit. We'll just kick it down the line a couple decades. 50 years from now, they might even release the actual Epstein files, and they'll just be like, huh, whoops, looks like we did all this stuff. What are you going to do about it now? You know, that's kind of the meme now. They'll be like, it's like with, what's his name? Hemingway. You know, he got paranoid near the end of his life that the government was tracking him. And then a couple decades later, the FBI is like, yep, we were tracking him all right. Or it'll be like, you know, they come out with all this other stuff, you know, it happens. It's the government, all right. MK Ultra gets released, nothing happens. You know, the government is funding giving people drugs in order to mind control people, and they're just like, oh, what are you gonna do? All the people who did that are dead now. Oops. So I don't think anything's ever gonna come of that. I think it's just gonna, yeah, I don't think anything's gonna come of that, honestly. So yeah,